Hello everyone, this is callimara here, and no, it's not calamari. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new to the pond, go ahead and take a dive. You might like it here. Before anything, I wanted to give an extra greeting to all my new subscribers and thank everyone that's been supporting me from back when I had less than 100 subscribers for helping me get Creator on the Rise again. If you guys didn't know, I was actually chosen as Creator on the Rise last year, and purely thanks to you guys, I was chosen again, and that really goes to show that I wouldn't be able to make videos and do the things that I enjoy if it weren't for all of you watching at home. And I just wanted to take the time to let you know how much this means to me. Because it really means a lot, and you guys helped me fulfill a dream I've had since I was a kid. And I hope I can keep making interesting content and sharing my ideas and my art with you. So today we are going to be rewriting and redesigning a highly requested character from Miraculous Ladybug, Alya Cesaire. This video is probably long overdue considering I've done videos on other characters from the show, including the two most forgotten about ones. Meanwhile, I haven't even gotten around to Alya, who is the best friend of the main character of the show. But I can promise you that I haven't forgotten about her, and I have some really cool ideas for her that I want to share with you today. I just wanted to make time to actually get my spin-off idea of Miraculous Ladybug with older characters out first. I worked really hard on that video, and if you've been enjoying my rewrite so far, I highly recommend you guys check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But as promised, I'm still going to be doing my usual rewrites and redesigns, and I'm actually thinking of doing a new series for Winx Club and Stardew Valley next, so make sure you stick around for that and let me know what other series I should do redesigns for. But before we start the video, I'm excited to tell you guys about today's sponsor and my current obsession, Tears of Themis. It is their 1-year anniversary, and to commemorate, they have launched a special event called Blissful Fate that comes with 4 new SSR cards that finally let you kiss your favorite Themis boy. But what is Tears of Themis, you ask? Well, it is the first romance mobile game published by HoYoverse, the company that brought you Genshin Impact. In this game, you are a defense attorney that fights to uncover the truth behind a massive cover-up on crimes plaguing Stella's city. Players can talk to and inspect various NPCs, collect evidence from 3D crime scenes, and carefully choose relevant evidence to grant swift justice in the court trial. Each episode is a separate story that will bring you one step closer to the hidden truth of Stella's city. Players will also be able to create cherished memories with the 4 unique male characters through individual stories, messages, video calls, and interactive games. Increase their affection level by playing games and interacting with them to unlock new stories and interactions. Plus, the artwork for the world and characters looks like it came straight out of a Makoto Shinkai movie. That is to say, absolutely exquisite. In the Blissful Fate event, you will be commemorating the anniversary of Stella's city. Players will be able to freely explore the city districts and visit each celebration zone, investigate the case of the stolen Sky Gladiolus, find new romantic encounters, play fun mini-games for awesome rewards, and get a whole new furniture set, Azure Vacation. On top of that, players can get up to 92 draws if they participate in the event. Make sure you don't miss out by clicking the link in my description to download Tears of Themis today. And don't forget to follow their official social media accounts for the latest updates. Thank you again to Tears of Themis for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's dive right in! So let's talk about Alya. In case you just happened to stumble upon this video because you were just looking around for background noise while you're drawing and you have no idea what Miraculous Ladybug is, let me give you some context on who she is and what role she plays in the story. Aside from being Marinette's best friend, Marinette being the main protagonist of the show, she is also the founder and owner of the Lady Blog, an online website that chronicles Ladybug and Cat Noir's endeavors against Hawkmoth's supervillains. The tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, if you will. She was also the permanent holder of the Fox Miraculous and Marinette's chosen successor for the Miracle Box for a little bit, and even got to wear the Ladybug Miraculous in Marinette's place one time. But she ended up renouncing the Fox Miraculous and Succession because of risk, which I think is a good thing, and I will explain a bit more on why while I discuss my redesign choices. Oh, and she's also the loving girlfriend of Nino, who is Adrian's best friend. How do you know she's not the main character? Because she's in a stable, loving relationship, and the writers think that their audience will find that boring. Yes, because stalking, frustrating love squares, and superficial angst between characters who aren't even mutually interested in each other is so much more riveting. Surely there's nothing to be explored in a happy relationship. Children can't know that every relationship involves disagreements, finding compromise, dealing with each other's differences, and require communication and teamwork to be viable. No. Honestly, I find it kind of funny that animated shows in the romance genre don't actually tell the story of a relationship, rather the pursuit of a relationship, and getting together with the love interest is the ending and not the start. To me, that's the same thing as reading a book that starts with a prologue and ends on the introduction. There are no other chapters, you just go straight to the epilogue where the characters are on their deathbed giving a brief recap of the story you never got to read. I guess I'm just frustrated that romance media thinks as soon as you get into a relationship, things just work out. Everything freezes in place, and if it doesn't, and people grow and change, and things change and conflict happens because of that growth and change, it's seen as a bad thing when it's a natural part of a relationship. You can't just stay in the honeymoon phase or chasing phase forever, and arguably the most critical part of a relationship is the phase after, when all of that excitement of something new wears off and realities that you are living with another human being you've never lived with before in your life sets in. And I just wish we got to see that more often in the romance genre. That was a bit of a rant. Writing these scripts always make me realize I have very strong opinions on things I didn't know I had opinions on at all. Anyway, back to Alya. This girl is a huge superhero buff. She loves superhero stories where good triumphs over evil. In fact, that's the very first thing we learn about her when she first shows up in the show. And that's also part of the reason why my first impression of Alya is, this girl is probably American. And I thought she was, because we later learned that Alya is Creole, and there is a significant Creole population in New Orleans, but the characters wiki actually states that she is Martiniquan Creole. They didn't cite where they got the information that she's from Martinique specifically, but a lot of people have taken this fact and run with it, so I guess I will too. If you guys have any information on this though, please let me know. But my other impression of Alya is, I think she deserves to be a superhero more than Marinette. She's way more passionate about standing up to injustice, isn't afraid of putting herself in the line of fire, and overall is a much more bold and charismatic personality than Marinette. By all means, she was a much better candidate for the leading lady of the show, but I get it. The story is meant for the quirky, awkward girls that usually don't get first pick, and that's fine. Because Alya is plenty successful on her own. She's made a name for herself with her blog, getting featured in the local news and becoming somewhat of an online influencer, hence her primary villain alias being Lady Wi-Fi to show her strong connection to the internet space. Wink wink, nudge nudge. She's sassy, clever, and no nonsense, and she calls out Marinette's bullshit sometimes, and only if it relates to hypocrisy with Chloe. Otherwise, this girl is a major enabler and often instigator for Marinette's obsessiveness and stalker tendencies. And that part I'm not on board with, because she's not only complacent, but straight up encouraging and allowing this to happen. Granted, I don't think she's actually aware of the extent Marinette goes to when it comes to Adrian, but at the same time, she is also aware that Marinette is a compulsive liar and forgives her for everything. At most she goes, "Oh, Marinette, so quirky." Alya is the kind of friend that makes you worse as a person because she'll never call you out and just say yes to everything until you end up in a bubble that is completely detached from reality. Usually the kind of people that like these kinds of friends are people who can't deal with how bad a person they are. Kinda like how Sabrina is to Chloe, and the parallels continue. Personally, I like to call Alya the audience proxy because the show hopes we're just meant to understand and shake off Marinette's iffy behaviors, encourage and support her no matter what she does, and not hold her accountable for anything like Alya does. Because Marinette never needs to get called out. She'll do the right thing by herself anyway. She's so perfect and self-aware. You wish you were Marinette's best friend. No, I would say aside from Adrien, Alya has one of the most unfortunate roles in the story. Also, does anyone realize that the foundation of Alya and Marinette's friendship is their mutual dislike of Chloe and Marinette's crush on Adrien? Oh, here's another toxic thing about this friendship. It's always about Marinette and her crush on Adrien, but not once does Marinette ever want to talk about Alya's relationship with Nino. Those two are never talking to each other again after they graduate middle school for sure. Oh, we haven't even talked about Rena Rouge yet. Well, she's there, and constantly putting her identity at risk of being exposed, but no, I get it. If Chloe puts herself at the same risk, she's never getting to be Miraculous again, but if Alya does it, she just gets to rebrand herself. Surely this is good and fair. But I will say that the Fox Miraculous is my favorite. Trix is the only Kwame that I'd feel comfortable looking at, and the costumes are some of the best ones in the whole show. Rena Rouge is definitely my favorite design out of all the superheroes. It's just a shame that she changed to camo later on. Are we sure Alya isn't American? But Alya is generally inoffensive, except for one particular part. Her mouth. My greatest enemy. I'm sorry, but the way they did her lips? Absolutely diabolical. Just a flat 2D texture, didn't even bother to sculpt it into her character model. And for the love of animation, when you open your mouth, use your jaw, woman! So for Alya's design, there are several components I really like that I definitely wanted to keep. Alya has this gorgeous curvy body that is very unique to the other character models in the show. I'm also keeping her large owlish eyes, forehead mole, and glasses. I'm just gonna be giving her better pairs. But the real area that needed work was that absolute flop hair and borderline translucent eyebrows. Miraculous is always fighting for their lives when it comes to hair volume and made it look like Miss Alya gelled the top of her head down to her scalp. Absolute menace. We are giving this lady the mane she deserves and resuscitating those brows before they fade away from existence. I want her design to scream fierce, so naturally I took some inspiration from Claudine Wolfe. She is my favorite Monster High doll, and I think her hair is very reminiscent to Alya's current hair texture, but I definitely wanted to do something a bit different than just beach waves. I've never drawn curls that are a bit tighter before, but I think they're absolutely beautiful and I've always wanted to draw them, so this is definitely very exciting and also gonna be a trial and error for me, especially when I get to coloring and shading. I was considering whether or not to keep Alya's red ombre because I'm personally not a fan of the color. I think it blends too much with her skin undertone and overall just makes her design look way too red. Looking at her character model now, I'm also very confused by what is happening with her sneakers, and I'm wondering to myself how I never noticed anything wrong with it before. But overall, I would just like Alya to look less like a soccer mom, so I'm definitely gonna be changing up her ensemble. Alya to me has always been that strong older sister type, so I wanted her outfit to make her seem cool and effortless. Pretty much in the I don't care what you think of me, but I still have a sense of fashion kind of way. I'm going for more of a tomboyish look with oversized clothes and lots of accessories like layered necklaces and rings, and I imagine she'd probably get more piercings when she gets older too. I want all of my designs to feel unique from each other and really exemplify the personalities of the characters. And I think this style would really stand out and showcase the kind of person I picture Alya to be. Artsy and creative like Marinette, but in a different way from her. Marinette is cutesy and girly, while Alya is cool and daring. So in my version, they both enjoy art, just in different forms. Marinette likes fashion and graphic design, while Alya, because she has a blog and loves making videos, is into film production and content creation. Now, the real dilemma comes in when designing her alter ego. You're probably hoping I would redesign Rena Rouge, but I don't necessarily want Alya to be a superhero in my rewrite, and I'll tell you why. Miraculous has a fan service problem. The show wastes too much time on teasing game-changing plot points like Adrian and Marinette learning each other's identities or Hawkmoth succeeding in his goal in these what-if episodes, only to retcon everything with time travel and put us right back in square one. It makes every single character that has become a fan favorite a superhero instead of actually progressing the plot forward, and because the story of Miraculous Ladybug is one giant hamster wheel, all of these developments equate to nothing and everything is reset to the status quo where only Ladybug and Cat Noir exist. So what was even the point of all of it? Oh, right, to sell more toys and merchandise, of course. And this is exactly why I don't necessarily want Alya to be a superhero in my version, because I think she could be more impactful in a different role. So, what is this role? Well, an investigative journalist. It ties in well with her character because she already has the Lady blog, which is just like an online newspaper about Ladybug and Cat Noir. We know she has a strong desire to uncover the truth in the early episodes when she didn't know Ladybug's true identity, and we already see her doing investigative work in the show for her blog. And since Miraculous Ladybug clearly leans more towards Western comic book heroes than Japanese magical girls, I think the cast would be complete with a journalist character who is trying to solve the mysteries and connect the dots together. Think of her as a Lois Lane. So because of that, I just decided to put her in a second outfit for when she does her investigations and records things live for her blog. And of course, how could I not do Andy's serious journalist look from The Devil Wears Prada? So yes, those are the designs. Let me know what you think. For my rewrite of Alya, I want it so that she becomes both an ally and a threat to Ladybug. An ally because she helps Ladybug get one step closer to figuring out who Hawkmoth is and how to stop him, but also a threat because Alya very much wants to uncover Ladybug's secret identity, and Marinette has to be careful not to give anything away. If you haven't watched any of my previous rewrites, I highly recommend you do that now because I'm going to be picking up exactly where I left off in my previous video. So if you want context as to the major narrative points I've established in my rewrites, I highly recommend watching my Gabriel Agreste video because that's where I did most of my world building. But the most important thing you should know is that Gabriel as Hawkmoth has secretly orchestrated an anti-Ladybug movement to sow discord and propaganda in order to turn Paris against the heroes and pressure them into giving up their Miraculous. This group is made up of radicalized citizens and previous akumatized victims who still hold grudges against Ladybug, and it has been gaining influence over the city with each passing day. The public seems to think that they are a group of concerned citizens who think that vigilantes like Ladybug and Cat Noir shouldn't be doing the police's job and that they should cease their operations and renounce their powers for the good of all. Kind of like if J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man created his own group of like-minded people. Of course, for the movement to grow without suspicion, Hawkmoth has to hide his involvement with them and be very careful not to implicate his civilian identity. And this is where Alya comes in. The first big change I would make is that Alya keeps her identity anonymous on her Lady blog. She never films herself and only focuses on the action. Being a big supporter of Ladybug, she has been helping her find Hawkmoth and tracking him down, following clues, and trying to advise her readers on how to stop further akumatizations from occurring. Initially, she began with interviewing previous victims of hawkmoth to learn about their experience being akumatized, with some of them expressing guilt and shame for what they've done and that it was an awful experience, while others seemed to think positively of hawkmoth for giving them power over their circumstances. Alya soon notices that many of these individuals who thought positively of hawkmoth were joining the anti-ladybug movement, and that turns her suspicions toward it. She then began reporting on the anti-ladybug movement's activities and campaigns and expressing suspicion on their motives. Of course, she knows that she can't make serious claims without any evidence, so she would be working to infiltrate the movement and reporting on their inner workings. And I imagine that her investigative work could also be the B story of each episode. And through Alya, we learn that the movement has several layers: an outer circle with regular members who are unaware of the inner workings of the movement, most members being innocent civilians who have had their homes devastated by the superhero and supervillain conflict, an inner circle of organizers who plan and oversee their demonstrations, political rallies, and public relations. And these people seem to be the heads of the movement. But Alya manages to catch wind of a secret circle from whom the inner circle receives instructions from. However, nobody knows who these people are, where they meet, and what their role in the movement actually is, but she was determined to find out. Naturally, Ladybug would be following closely on Alya's investigations, probably visiting her from time to time to talk about her latest discoveries. And I think it would be cool if she tasked Queen Bee to help Alya gain more intel on the anti-Ladybug conspiracy. And with their combined efforts, they managed to find information on the anti-Ladybug movement's secret circle. That being, the members of this circle were followers of hawkmoth, including those previously akumatized and defeated by Ladybug and Cat Noir, and those who managed to escape before being purified. Of course, that immediately implicates hawkmoth being part of the anti-Ladybug movement, and that the entire movement was in fact orchestrated by him. But before this news could come out, the shocking revelation that Ladybug had fatally injured Cat Noir comes out, and Alya's entire perception of Ladybug nearly shatters. But she holds faith that Ladybug wouldn't do such a thing, and that the truth is more than how things appear. So, after Cat Noir has left Ladybug's side and Felix has stolen all her Miraculous, Alya posts the information she managed to find with Queen Bee's help, implicating the entire anti-Ladybug movement as being part of hawkmoth's reign of terror and launching an official police investigation on the organization, effectively revealing to the public just how far-reaching hawkmoth's influence really was. At the end of the video, Alya promises to Ladybug that she will help her uncover the truth before signing off, possibly for the last time. Moved by Alya's loyalty, Ladybug comes to visit her and thank her personally, having nowhere else to go. She reveals her identity to Alya, and the two grow even closer as friends. After a long heart-to-heart talk, Alya eventually convinces Marinette to lay low as Ladybug and let the police weaken hawkmoth's support. In the meanwhile, they can focus on finding hawkmoth and taking away his Miraculous. She tells her to trust that Cat Noir will be there to stop hawkmoth from doing anything drastic, even if he wasn't on her side anymore. He had a good heart, and he wouldn't just let innocent people get hurt. It's scary for Marinette to rely on someone else and fully trust other people to do something she was responsible for. But at that point, she didn't have a choice. So this is my hypothetical season 5, and the beginning half of the season would mostly center on Alya and Marinette doing their investigation, picking up on clues to try and piece together hawkmoth's identity and his whereabouts. But then, in the middle of the season, they receive an anonymous email telling them that they know where hawkmoth is and how they can stop him. The email includes an address for where they can meet to discuss further, and having nothing to lose, the two rush to meet their anonymous informant. And out from the shadows comes none other than Lila Rossi. And I'm going to end it there for today. If you liked the series so far, please be sure to like and subscribe and support me on my Patreon if you can. Let me know what other series you want me to redesign and rewrite, or what other types of videos you want to see from me. I'll be more than happy to oblige. Thank you for all the amazing fan art. It always makes my day to see how my works have inspired people. And if you want to send me some fan art, you can do it on my Instagram or Twitter. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to follow me on there as well as my other social media like Tumblr and DeviantArt. Join my Discord server and check out my comic because that will make me really happy. All the links are in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!